Oh, wait, what's this? Wait. This is all wrong. This isn't the Stanley Parable. This is a game where you press a button and it says 8. Not only is the Stanley Parable not a game about continuously pressing the number 8, I can guarantee that this button does not appear anywhere in the main game. Why is it here instead of the demo for the Stanley Parable? Where did the demo go? There was an actual demo here before. Something has gone wrong. It's all gone horribly wrong. We need to get you out of here before you start forming impressions of the Stanley Parable based on whatever the hell this 8 game is. We need to get out. We need to start over. You mustn't stay here another minute. Out, go.
Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb, and based off that beginning of this module, this is called 8. So today we're going to be taking a look at a series of much easier modules today. I'm taking it a little bit back because I want to clear the repo up. We're very close to getting done with this. We're about 397 away from this point on, and this is going to help me get rid of a bunch of these modules. So these are all modules of which you have to pretty much take one look at the manual, read a little bit, and you'll understand it perfectly fine, or I can just show you based off of several different demonstrations here. That's all we're simply going to be doing with this. So now, this is the last module called 8. Now, 8 is going to be a little bit of a nuisance the entire bomb, and what's going to be happening here is that you have to simply press this button 8 times. Every single solve. That is all you do with this boss module. It is just here to be annoying, and it is apparently a reference to the Stanley Parable. So, what's going to be happening here is that what we need to do is we need to calm down Stanley. And in this case, what's going to be happening here is we need to press this button 8 times.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
And what happens is when you know you've reached your 8 solves, is you see this little LED down in the bottom right light up green. That means that he's calm. Now, one thing that's very important to note is that he will actually start off by not being calm at the beginning of the module. So you do need to press this button 8 times at the beginning of the module. This is all you do with this module. This is literally it. There is a legacy mode that appears that you can use, but no one plays with it. I'm going to be honest with you. Because what happens is instead of the 8 times that you have to press it, Stanley calms down if the button has to be pressed at least X times, where X is equal to the number of solved not ignored modules on the bomb plus 1. So in this case, it has the potential of going up above 1, which is not fun. So, in the event of there being multiple of these modules on the bomb, which is very rare, mind you, the button must be pressed at least 8 times on all of them. At least 8 or X times on all of them based off whether they have legacy mode or not, but in this case, this is all you do with this module. That's it. Now, with this in mind, Stanley is now calm. He's got that little green light down in the bottom. Let's start taking a look at some of the other ones that we have on the game here, that we have on this bomb here. And I'm only going to be focusing on one example for these guys, because these guys are really simple to do, and I really don't want to spend a lot of time on them. So let's start off with a very easy one called Spriteclub Betting Simulator. Now, all of this stuff is going to be completely useless for you. If you want to take a read through this, go ahead and be my guest, because there is an actual function with this that's called the Spriteclub Betting Simulator, or in this case, there is a Spriteclub site. Now, what's happening with this module is it's hooked up with Twitch plays, and there's essentially battles going on between 2 individual players. However, none of this is relevant to the actual solving process of this module at all, and I'm going to explain to you how to solve this module. You see this little button down here at the bottom right that says solve? Hit it. And just like that, the module will solve. That is all you do with this module. It doesn't matter when you press solve. It doesn't matter when you do it. All you simply need to do is press solve, the module solves, and that's it. That is literally how that generic module works. If you want to explore the Spriteclub site, go ahead, be my guest. It's totally fine, and you can actually do stuff with the module and bet on specific players to win. It does light up a red and blue side. You can bet a specific amount based off of your balance, but for the most part, this module has no other purpose other than just being here to exist. That's it. So, now, with this in mind, since we've solved the module, let's go back to 8.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
And then now he's calm again. Next up, let's take a look at a little bit of a fun solo one today. Let's take a look at this module called One Line. So One Line in this case is going to be these two guys. And the reason why I have two of them on the bottom right now is because there can be the possibility of some nastier examples. Trust me, I've seen this before. And what our goal is with this module is, our goal is to connect all of these dots together. And what we're going to be doing here is we need to find the shortest continuous path passing through all of the nodes. And to create line segments, we're going to press a node and then connect it to another. Simple as that. Like this, just like that. And what we're going to essentially be doing is we're going to be trying to connect all of these nodes together in one continuous line, as it tells by the name of one line in this case. And this module will not strike and will automatically solve upon connecting the nodes correctly. So in this case, I believe I already see the pattern here, and in this case, it's going to be connecting you to you, you to you, you to you, and you, and you, and you, and you. And just like that, that was good to go. This was the shortest distance, and sometimes they can be really, really clear with how they should be connected. But there can be other nastier examples that you can experience. But in this case, this one is also a really easy one to do. You check this. It's not. Okay, so we have some other possibilities. And if we want to deconnect one of the line segments, all we simply need to do is we need to simply just do it. Just like that. So now it could be potentially, I think that it's safe to say that these two are going to be connected together. It could be potentially you, you, you. No. Okay. Maybe you and you. There we go. And as we just saw here, I happened to forget to press the 8 button 2 times, which in this case, as you can see, if you happen to miss one, it happens to give you a strike. I did this on purpose, so don't worry. But now we need to simply call him Stanley again. And this is what's really annoying about this module, is the fact that how long the button takes to press in this case. Because as you can see, I cannot interact with it when the button is when the button is going down in this case. You have to wait for it to come back up, which is rather quite annoying. So, but as you can see, I happen to miss one of the 8 presses in this case, because I solved both of these one lines without pressing the 8 buttons in between. So in this case, that is where I struck. That's why this module is a little bit annoying. It's not ideal. It's not really all that great, in my opinion. I'm going to stop casting my opinions on it, because I am here to simply teach you how the module works. And now, let's take a look at keyed buttons in this case. So this is the way the module looks, and on the button there are going to be 4 colored keys, like so. The colors in order are going to be red, green, blue, yellow, cyan, magenta, and black. In this case, it happens to represent it for colorblind people. This is going to be the order of the columns, respectively, and the order of the rows from top to bottom. So, when you press a key on the button, a same selection of colors will appear. So now let's press a key. In this case, we have a button here, and that is a sign in this case. And what we need to do is we need to figure out when we're going to be pressing each of these buttons. As we can see, we can flip up all of these guys, like so. And what's going to be happening here is that we need to pay attention both to the keys of these guys and the colors of the buttons. We need to make sure that we pay attention to the colors, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting a series of 4 different digits that we can press. So, and what's going to be happening here is we're going to use the color of the key as the column and the color of the button as the row to get a number. And we're going to be pressing that button when the last digit of the timer is that number. So let's do that. So in this case, our color of the key was a magenta, and our color of the button is a cyan for this first top left position right here. So that's going to be the color of the key as the column, which is going to be magenta, and the color of the button is going to be a cyan, which is going to be pressing it on the last digit of a 1. Okay, that's good. Next up, we have a cyan and then a blue. So cyan and then blue, because the color of the key is cyan. The color of the button is a blue. That's going to be on a 2. So let's press the last digit is a 2. Apologies for the time being a little bit condensed, but that's a 2 right there. Next up, we have the color of the key being blue, the color of the button being yellow. So blue and then yellow is going to be on a 6. So let's do it on a 6. Okay. And then finally, for our last one, we have a yellow key and then a cyan button, which is going to be on the 6 again. And now everything will close, and just like that is a solved module. So now let's hit the button 8 times again.
8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8.
Okay, and that's taken care of. Next up, let's take a look at Kusa Nihonglish. And what's going to be happening here is, for those of you who are familiar with the concept of spelling bee, it's going to be very, very similar to this. However, some of the words are going to be a little bit weirder compared to spelling bee, that's for sure. When pressed, the play button will be playing a sound clip containing a mashup of 2 or more languages, including Japanese or simply poor Japanese in general. Find the English translation of the word or phrase in the appendix of the Japanese symbol here, and type it in the keyboard to solve this module, and using the blank button as a spacebar. Okay, so now let's take a look here. So let's press this play button, and let's see what we get.
Sorry-masen.
Sorry-masen. So in this case, this is going to be corresponding to sorry-masen. And all that's going to be happening is going to give you a sound of how this how the word essentially sounds, and all you're simply going to be doing is you're going to be typing this into the module. Now the blank button is down in the bottom right here. That's going to be essentially representing your space. So that's what we're going to be using for a space. However, we don't have to type any spaces at all, so that's perfect. So let's type in sorry-masen. And a lot of the times, these words are actually pretty unique for how they sound, essentially. That's going to be pretty easy to determine. So just try and sound it out with your expert. All of these are relatively unique. So just try and make sure that you recognize the difference between ariga danke, ariga thanks, which in this case is German, and then English. So let's hit the, now all we need to do is simply, to submit it, is going to be hitting the green button here. In this case, our red button is going to be the reset. So let's hit the green button, and just like that is a solved module. That's all we simply need to do with that. Let's press the 8 again. And now let's head on over to Baybayin words. I'm just going to be up on the top right there.
8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8.
Okay, and now let's take a look and see what we have here. So this is going to be Baybayin words, and what we need to do is we need to figure out which word that we're looking at in the top display, and we need to figure out its translation in the actual translation table here. So now, if we take a look down at the bottom, we can see that we have a series of different characters here that are going to be what we need to determine here. And that little beep that you hear is going to be essentially the new round is starting. We can bet whatever we want to. We don't care about that. But in this case, let's take a look at what we have here. So now, what we need to kind of do is we need to kind of describe to your expert how to what these characters look like on the module. And these characters will be represented here. Now, each character can give you a potential of more than one letter. As we can see, most of these guys happen to actually give you 2 to 3 characters in some cases. So that's going to be very important to note down. So let's take a look. So we have sort of like a sideways Sierra in this case, and there's no real, there's nothing really special about it. So in this case, that's going to be corresponding to an HA right here. So ha. Now we sort of have a similar Sierra. However, the leftmost part extends upward. We have a little bit of a nub in the middle of it, and we have a dot right below it. So now this is going to correspond to what? Let's find it. This is going to be corresponding to the bottom. That's going to be a ho, poop. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing right here. Now, I believe what happens here is I believe that this is the potential of them swapping out. I'm not quite sure how this is. It should be potentially swapping out. So it could be a, there could be either an I or an O in this position, but for the most part, we should be able to figure that out really easy. So now for the next character, it's sort of like an archway with, it sort of drizzles down a little bit in the middle. Let's find that. Now there's no dot present, which is going to be, in this case, this is going to be corresponding to a knot. Okay. Now, this one is very similar to the third character that we just had. However, there is now going to be a cross or a plus down at the bottom. That's going to be corresponding to an N by itself. So now this could be a haponen. So if we search up haponen, hapunen is going to be what we're looking at right here. Let me make sure I was looking at the right character here. Hapu, yeah, I accidentally typed I, my bad. Yes, so in this case, as we just saw here, there was 2 possibilities that we had for the second character right here, and that was a PO or a PU. In this case, this one is going to be a PU because of the fact that we happen to have a word that corresponds to hapunen. So in this case, hapunen corresponds to the translation of dinner, and dinner is present on one of these labels right here, so we're going to be pressing dinner.
Is an acceptable answer.
And just like that is a solved module. Very simple module, just decrypting what the word actually means. And now let's call them 8 again.
8. 8.
Let's head on over to Cacti's Conundrum.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Okay, so this is Cacti's Conundrum. And in this case, we have a series of white LEDs and a potential of a colored LED up in the top left here. And what's going to be happening here is that we need to, first off, note down the color of that LED, which in this case is going to be as our column for part of the answer. But there's also going to be a little bit of an interesting catch here. These LEDs can either be a black or white LED, which is going to be corresponding to a binary. So, the binary, for those of you who don't know how this works, I would advise you know how binary works at this point, if you're not. But binary is sort of converting into base 2. And it gives you an explanation of how binary actually works down here. If the rightmost LED is white, add 1. If the one to the left of that is 2, if the left of that is going to be adding 2, adding 4, and adding 8. It gives you an explanation of how the binary works. However, I'm going to assume that you do know how binary works. It does provide you with quite a nice explanation, in my opinion. But in this case, if we take a look here, white LED is going to be equal to 1, and a black LED is going to be equal to 0. Makes sense. So now, let's convert this guy into a binary. All of them happen to be white, so what's going to be happening here is we're going to be adding 1, 2, 4, and 8. So 2 plus 4 is going to be 10, and then 1 plus 4 is going to be a 5. That's going to be a 15 for us. Now, 15 down at the bottom is going to be what we're looking at the answer table. We're going to find the intersection between this, and our answer is going to be a Jeeves. And we need to do this 3 times, as we can see by this little stage indicator here. So now, let's continue on. Our new LED color is a blue, and our new binary is going to be an 8 plus a 2. That's going to be a 10, so we're going to be pressing Jeeves again, okay? This one is going to be, the new color is going to be an orange, and now our answer is going to be a 4 plus a 2, which is going to be a 6, 6 right here, and then our final answer is going to be spoon. And just like that is a solved module. That's all you need to do with that module. It's quite simple. So now let's head on over to Minecraft Parody. Yes, this is an actual module.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Okay. And now let's head on over to Minecraft Parody. So now what we need to do is with this module, there's going to be a series of different lyrics. And what we need to do is we need to find out who is like essentially going to be doing this Discord sings a little bit of it. And what we need to do is we need to figure out who sung it and why. Who sung it, and we're going to be essentially submitting their icons. So, first things first is Villagers Would Cheer My Way. Villagers Would Cheer My Way is going to be corresponding to the singer of Finder. Finder is going to be the icon of this purple circle in the middle. So let's do that. And now we're going to essentially toggle these guys right here. And the one thing that's very important to note about the profile pictures is that they're going to be cycling through in order like this. They're always going to start on line boy, and they're always going to be going through in reading order. So all we simply need to do is go to Finder, like there. Next up, for a hero I was, that's what they'd say. For a hero. And at this point, as you can already see, we've already found our lyric here. And it's going to be the next it's going to be the next 3 lyrics as well that are going to be included in this. So we know that our next 3 answers are going to be Crunchybot, Cool Doom, and Cruise. So let's do that. So we have Crunchybot. Crunchy is going to be this guy right here. So it's going to be 1 after Finder. Okay. Then next up is going to be a Cool Doom, and then finally a Cruise. So Cool Doom is going to be right here, and then Cruise is going to be right here. Cool Doom, and then Cruise. And just like that, once we have all of our profile pictures set, we're going to hit submit. And just like that is a solved module, and that's all we simply need to do for that. And finally, to end on a bit of a high note in I like it. It's an easier module. Is we're going to be ending with a Marquee Morse. So, for those of you who do know how Morse code works in the vanilla game, it is essentially that. And what's going to be happening here is it's a little bit different of how you're actually getting your message. As we can see at the top here, what we have here is we have a series of different Morse code characters going through in a sort of pixelated fashion with these squares here. So let's search up Marquee Morse. And the way that this works is essentially it's very similar to how Morse code works, but in this case, instead of in normal flashes with the normal Morse code, it's going to be given actually just the dots and the dashes in sort of already Morse code. But in this case, it's to just make sure you know how it works. 1 lit square represents a dot, 3 lit squares represent a dash, A 3 square gap is going to be between the letters, and there's a 7 square gap before the word repeats. Now, hopefully I can show that to you in just a second whenever it decides to move back around. But in this case, most of these words are going to be very, very long, a lot longer than beforehand in the normal Morse code. And here we go. It's the beginning of the word. So we have a dash, dot, dash, dot, then a dash, 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 then a dash, dot, then a dot, 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 and that should be enough for us right there. Because in most cases, if you happen to take a look, all of these words are actually really unique from one another. They're actually really unique in the sense that most of their middles and their beginnings are actually quite different from each other, and that's what makes this module a little bit nice to do. So, all we simply kind of need is we simply need 4 characters, and if we happen to need a little bit more, obviously your expert or diffuser will specify that. So we have a dash dot, which is going to be representing a Charlie. We have a dash dash dash, which is going to be representing an Oscar. Then we have a dash dot, which is going to be representing a November, and then we have a dot dot dot, which is going to be representing a Sierra. And at this point, we can pretty much go down to a couple options here. We actually got a little bit unlucky with this case because there is a lot of the C-O-N-S in this case, but in this case we're starting back at the beginning, I believe. C-O-N-S, and we have a dot dot dash. Dot dot dash is a whiskey. That doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let's just dash dot. Here we go. Yeah. So we have the beginning of the word. So dash dot dash dot, dash dash dash, then dash dot, dot dot dot, dot dot dash. Excuse me, I can't do words. It's going to be a uniform afterward. So a dot dot dash is going to be a uniform. That's going to be corresponding to consultation. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be submitting this frequency, 101.1 megahertz, with this little bit right here. So 1.101, we're going to hit TX, and just like that is a solved module. And now, to close off our bomb, let's press 8 more times.
8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8.
You're done. Well, in that case, what do you say we get back to business and start this demo over from the top?
And just like that is a solved bomb. As always, thank you guys for watching. These are all really easy modules to do, and I just felt like crossing them off today, and I hope you guys understand that. If it was a little bit scuffed of how I taught these guys, sorry about that. These are really easy, and these are really sight readable, so I'm just kind of getting it done. As always, stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.